The 1967 Mustang, fastback, sits in the garage like a sleeping god. It's Highland green, smelling of gasoline, old leather, and my father's cologne. This car isn't just metal and rubber. It's the last heartbeat of a man who worked 40 years at the mill just to feel the wind on his face for 5 minutes every Sunday. Dad left it to me, not to my older brother, Julian. To me. You're the one who actually knows how to change the oil? Leo. Dad had whispered in the hospice ward. Julian was too busy outside in the hallway, loudly negotiating a business deal on his phone. Julian has always been the golden boy, the one with the tailored suits and the Rolex that probably cost more than my apartment. I'm just the mechanic, the quiet one, the invisible one. But even a golden boy needs a shine. Our family dinners are a masterclass in atmospheric pressure. My mother dotes on Julian, piling his plate with the best cuts of meat, while I'm the one who stayed behind to fix her leaky roof and mow the lawn. She looks at Julian and sees a success story. She looks at me and sees a reminder of the husband she lost. Julian is doing so well at the firm, Mom says, her eyes gleaming. He's thinking of buying a vacation home in the Hamptons. Isn't that wonderful, Leo? I nod and keep eating. I don't mention that Julian hasn't paid me back for the $3,000 I lent him 6 months ago when his investments hit a snag. I don't mention that he barely visits unless he needs a favor. I stay in my lane. I keep my head down. Julian flashes that $1,000,000 smile. It's all about leverage, Mom. You have to know what things are worth. He looks at me, his eyes cold and calculating. Speaking of worth, Leo, that old hunk of junk in the garage is just collecting dust. It's a waste of space. You should let me handle the sale. I have contacts. It's not for sale, Julian. I say firmly. My grip tightens on my fork. Dad wanted me to have it. I'm restoring the carburetor this weekend. Julian laughs, a sharp, condescending sound. Restoring it? You're sentimental. Sentimental people stay poor. Brother, that car is a liquid asset. Nothing more. I felt the first chill then, a prickle at the back of my neck. I trusted my brother to respect Dad's final wish, even if he didn't respect me. I thought that despite our differences, the one thing we shared was the sanctity of Dad's memory. That was the moment everything changed. I just didn't know it yet. The silence of the house is the first thing I notice when I pull into the driveway after a 12-hour shift at the shop. It's a heavy, unnatural silence. I walk toward the garage, my hand already reaching for the keys to the side door. I need to spend an hour with the Mustang. I need to feel close to Dad. I swing the door open. The space is empty. The concrete floor is bare, save for a small patch of oil where the engine used to rest. My heart skips a beat, then begins to hammer against my ribs like a trapped bird. Maybe Mom moved it? No, she doesn't even have the keys. Maybe it was stolen. I sprint into the house, shouting for my mother. She's sitting in the living room, looking confused. Leo, what's wrong? You're shouting. The car, Mom. Dad's Mustang. It's gone. She looks down at her lap, avoiding my eyes. Oh, Julian said you two had talked. He said you realized it was too much of a burden to maintain. He arranged for a buyer to pick it up this afternoon. The world tilts. My lungs feel like they're filling with lead. Talked. I told him 3 days ago it wasn't for sale. Where is he? Where is Julian? He's at the club, I think, she murmurs. He said the money would go into a family trust. He's looking out for us, Leo. I don't wait for another word. I'm back in my truck, tires screaming as I pull out. My brother didn't just sell a car. He sold a piece of my soul. He sold the only thing I had left of my father, and he lied to our mother's face to do it. I find him at the Highlands Country Club, sitting on the patio with a glass of scotch and 2 men in expensive blazers. He looks up as I storm toward him, his expression shifting from annoyance to a practiced mask of concern. Leo, you're making a scene, he says smoothly, standing up to intercept me. Let's step inside. Where is it? I roar. My voice cracks. I don't care who's watching. Where's Dad's car, Julian? He grabs my arm, his fingers digging in. Keep your voice down. I did you a favor. That car was a liability. I got $80,000 for it. Cash. It's already been loaded onto a transport headed for a private collector in Florida. I didn't give you permission. I shove him back. That was mine. Dad gave it to me. Julian straightens his tie, his face hardening into a sneer. Dad was senile at the end. Leo. He didn't know what he was doing. I'm the head of this family now. I make the decisions. The money is in an account you can't touch. Consider it a savings plan for someone who clearly can't manage their own life. I felt invisible. I felt like a child being scolded for losing a toy, rather than a man who had been robbed by his own blood. You stole it. I whisper. You stole from me. I saved you from yourself, he retorts. Now go home. Wash the grease off your hands. You're embarrassing the name. As I turned away, the heat in my chest turned from fire to ice. He thought I wouldn't fight back. He thought I was just the fixer who would eventually roll over and accept his dominance. He was wrong. The next 48 hours are a blur of grief and rage. I sit in the empty garage, staring at the spot where the Mustang should be. Every time I close my eyes, I see Dad's hands on the steering wheel. I see the pride in his eyes when he finally handed me the keys. I try to call the transport company, but Julian used a private broker. The trail is cold. The car is gone. I go to Mom's house, hoping for an ally. Instead, I find her polishing Julian's high school trophies. You have to understand, Leo, she says, her voice trembling. Julian knows the world. He says the economy is shifting. He did it for your future. He did it for his ego, Mom. He stole from me. Don't use that word, she snaps, her loyalty to her firstborn blinding her. He's your brother. He loves you. He just knows better than you do. I walk out. I realize then that in this house, I am a ghost. My needs, my rights, my inheritance, they all pale in comparison to Julian's vision. I spend the night in my small apartment, surrounded by car parts and manuals, feeling the crushing weight of my own insignificance. I trusted them. I thought family meant a safety net. Instead, it's a noose. I start drinking, not a lot, just enough to numb the edges. I look at my phone, at the photos of the restoration project. I was so close to finishing the engine. Just one more week. I pull up my laptop, intending to delete the photos because looking at them hurts too much. But then I see a folder. It's a backup from an old laptop Julian gave me 2 years ago when he upgraded to a newer model. He told me he'd wiped the drive. He's a businessman, but he's not a tech guy. He's arrogant enough to think a simple delete all command actually erases data. I start digging. At first, it's just old spreadsheets and boring contracts. But then I find a hidden partition, a folder titled Project Phoenix. My breath hitches. I'm a mechanic. I know how to look under the hood of a machine. I know how to find the hidden cracks. As I click through the files, my blood begins to boil again. But this time, it's different. This isn't the heat of grief. This is the cold, sharp clarity of a weapon being forged. I find emails. I find bank statements. I find photos. Julian isn't the golden boy, investor everyone thinks he is. He's a hollow shell. He's been running a sophisticated shell game, moving money from his clients' accounts to cover his own gambling debts. And Project Phoenix. It's a plan to liquidate our mother's house and her entire retirement fund to cover a massive shortfall before an upcoming audit. He didn't just sell my car for my future. He sold it because he's drowning. He's a predator, and he was about to eat our mother alive next. I stare at the screen, the blue light reflecting in my eyes. The victim in me dies in that moment. The survivor takes the wheel. The deeper I go, the more the rot reveals itself. Julian hasn't just been unlucky with investments. He's been intentional. I find a series of messages between Julian and a woman named Elena. She isn't his wife. Julian has been maintaining a second life in another city for 3 years. A high-rise condo, a leased Porsche, and a lifestyle funded entirely by the family trust he supposedly manages. The betrayal is total. It's a masterpiece of deception. I find the sales receipt for Dad's Mustang. He didn't get $80,000. He got $120,000. He lied about the price so he could pocket the extra 40 without it even appearing in the trust records he showed Mom. I felt invisible. I whisper to the empty room. But being invisible means nobody sees you coming. I spend the next 3 days at the shop, but I'm not fixing cars. I'm building a digital dossier. I contact a friend of mine who works in forensic accounting. I don't tell him everything, just enough to verify the documents I've found. Leo, if this is real, my friend says over the phone, his voice hushed, your brother isn't just a jerk. He's a felon. This is embezzlement on a massive scale. If that audit happens next month and the money isn't there, he's going to prison. And Mom's house? I ask. He's already started the paperwork for a reverse mortgage. He forged her signature. Leo. He's going to leave her with nothing. I feel a strange sense of calm. The grief for the car is still there, but it's been replaced by a grim necessity. I have to stop him, not just for the car, but for the mother who is too blinded by her love to see the knife he's holding to her throat. I think about the Mustang. I track down the buyer through the broker's email. His name is Mr. Sterling, a collector in Miami. I send him a polite email explaining that the car was sold without the title holder's consent. I attach a copy of Dad's will. Within an hour, Sterling calls me. He's a reasonable man. He's horrified. I don't want any part of a family legal battle. Son, the car is still in the warehouse in Georgia. It hasn't shipped yet. If you can prove it's yours, I'll hold it. I can prove it, I say, but I need a few days. I need to finish something first. I have the leverage. I have the truth. Now, I just need the stage. Julian is planning a celebration of success dinner at a high-end restaurant on Saturday night. He's inviting his top clients and our mother. He wants to announce his new venture, which I now know is just a cover for his latest theft. He thinks I won't show up. He thinks I'm at home, pining over a car. He's about to learn that when you strip a man of everything he loves, you leave him with nothing to lose. I spend the Friday before the dinner preparing. I don't go to the shop. I go to the barber. I buy a suit, not a flashy one like Julian's, but a sharp, charcoal gray one that fits me like armor. I print out the documents. I put them in sleek, professional folders. One for each of his top clients. One for Mom. One for the local news tip line I've already contacted. I feel a flicker of hesitation. This is my brother. We shared a bedroom. We played catch in the yard. Then I remember the empty garage. I remember him sneering at my greasy hands. I remember him forging Mom's name to steal her home. The hesitation vanishes. I call Julian. He answers on the fourth ring, sounding annoyed. Leo, I'm busy. If this is about the car again. It's not, I say, my voice steady. I wanted to apologize. You were right. I was being sentimental. I want to come to the dinner tomorrow. I want to support you. There's a long pause. I can almost hear the gears turning in his head. He loves a victory. He loves it when people bow down to him. Well, he says, his tone softening into that fake warmth I hate. It's about time you grew up. Of course you can come. Sit at the back table. Though, it's a formal event. I'll be there, Julian. I wouldn't miss it for the world. I hang up. I feel a surge of adrenaline. It's the same feeling I get when a high-performance engine finally catches and roars to life. Everything is in sync. Every part is in place. I make one more call. This one is to the police. I don't file a report yet. I just ask for the procedure on reporting financial elder abuse. I give them the address of the restaurant and the time of the dinner. We'll have a car in the area, the officer tells me. I spend the rest of the night practicing. I don't want to be angry. Anger is messy. I want to be cold. I want to be surgical. I look at the photo of Dad one last time. I'm getting it back, Dad. I whisper. And I'm protecting Mom. I promise. Julian thinks he's the shark in this water. He thinks I'm just a bottom feeder. He's forgotten that some fish have thorns. Some fish are poisonous. I lay out my suit. I check the folders one last time. Everything is ready. The illusion is about to shatter, and I'm the one swinging the hammer. The restaurant is one of those places where the appetizers cost more than my monthly rent. Crystal chandeliers, waiters in white gloves, and a hush of old money that Julian desperately tries to mimic. I walk in at 8 p.m. Julian is at the head of a long table, holding a glass of champagne, holding court. Mom is next to him, looking radiant but fragile in her best pearls. Julian sees me. He frowns at my suit. I look too good, too confident, but he waves me over. Ah, the prodigal brother returns. Find a seat at the end, Leo. I don't sit at the end. I walk straight to the head of the table. Julian, I say, my voice carrying across the room. The table goes quiet. I have a gift for you. For your new venture. Julian's eyes narrow. Leo, not now. We're in the middle of a toast. Oh, this is part of the toast, I say. I start handing out the folders to his clients. Mr. Henderson, the man to Julian's left, looks confused as he opens the first page. What is this? Henderson asks. Bank statements. Those are the records of where your investments actually went, Mr. Henderson. I say calmly. Spoiler alert. They went to a condo in Chicago and a gambling site based in Macau. Julian stands up, his face turning a terrifying shade of purple. Leo, give me those. You're drunk. Security. I'm perfectly sober, Julian, I say, turning to my mother. I hand her the final folder. Mom, look at page 4. That's the reverse mortgage application for the house. Look at the signature. It's not yours. Mom's hands shake as she reads. Her face goes pale. Julian, what is this? This looks like my handwriting, but I never signed this. The room is a cacophony now. Julian is screaming, trying to grab the folders, but the clients are already reading. They're businessmen. They recognize fraud when it's laid out in black and white. He sold Dad's car to fund the first payment on a loan he took out in your name, Mom. I say, my voice cutting through Julian's noise. He didn't do it for the family. He did it to stay out of jail. You little rat. Julian lunges at me across the table. I don't move. I don't have to. 2 men in suits, the plainclothes officers I alerted, step out from the bar area. They move with practiced efficiency, catching Julian's arms and pinning them behind his back. Julian Vance, you're under investigation for financial fraud and identity theft. One of them says. The silence that follows is deafening. The golden boy is bent over a table of half-eaten lobster, his face pressed against the white linen, being handcuffed in front of everyone he wanted to impress. Mom starts to cry, not the loud, wailing cry of a tragedy, but the quiet, broken sound of a woman realizing her world was a lie. I go to her, putting my arm around her shoulders. She flinches at first, then leans into me. I'm sorry, Mom. I whisper, but he was going to destroy you. Julian looks at me, his eyes full of a hatred so pure it's almost beautiful. I'll kill you for this. Leo, you ruined everything. You ruined the family. No, Julian, I say, looking him dead in the eye. You ruined the family when you sold Dad's car. I just sold your secret. And honestly, I think I got a better deal. As they lead him out, the clients scatter, muttering about lawyers and lawsuits. The restaurant staff looks away. The celebration of success is a crime scene. I feel a strange sense of weightlessness. The anger is gone. The invisibility is gone. I am standing in the wreckage of my family. And for the first time in my life, I can breathe. 3 months later, the garage isn't empty anymore. The Highland green paint of the Mustang Fastback glows under the new LED shop lights I installed. It took 2 months of legal wrangling and a very long drive to Georgia, but she's back. Mr. Sterling was a man of his word. He returned the car as soon as the police confirmed the theft. Julian is currently awaiting trial. He's out on bail, but he has nowhere to go. Mom finally saw the truth in the documents, the forged signatures, the hidden condo, the lies. She hasn't spoken to him since the night of the dinner. She lives with me now, in a small, quiet house near the shop. She's different. She's humbler. She spends her afternoons in the garden, and sometimes she comes into the garage and just watches me work. He looks like your father when you're under that hood, she said yesterday. It was the first time she'd compared me to Dad in a way that didn't feel like a disappointment. Julian's secret didn't just bring him down. It set us free. The family trust was a cage built of golden bars, and he was the jailer. Without the pressure to live up to his fake success, Mom and I are actually getting to know each other. The golden boy is gone. The mechanic is the one holding the keys. I finished tightening the last bolt on the carburetor. I wiped the grease from my hands. Grease I'm no longer ashamed of. I climb into the driver's seat and turn the key. The engine doesn't just start. It roars. It's a primal, powerful sound that echoes off the walls of the garage. It sounds like justice. It sounds like home. I look at the empty passenger seat and imagine Dad sitting there, his hand on the dashboard, nodding in approval. I did what he asked. I took care of the car. I took care of the family. I put the car in gear and slowly back out into the sunlight. The road ahead is open. There's no more hiding, no more being the quiet one in the shadow of a liar. I lost a brother, but I gained a life. I lost the illusion of a perfect family, but I found the reality of a peaceful one. Sometimes losing your family is the price of finding yourself.